What does it mean to live in a community defined by a religious monument? Hello, I'm David Havlicek, a current student at Advanced Architecture History Arc 531 at ASU. As a class, we have been looking into maps as time capsules into history. I recently examined a map of Venice from the year 1500, researching the time period to better visualize what it meant to be a Venetian, to understand the world as they did. This made me think of what I could create to better capture my own experiences. Last year, I was living in Idaho Falls, Idaho. The community was defined by a Mormon monument, the Idaho Falls Temple. Its impressive architecture is something everyone can admire because of our religious freedoms in the United States. However, I was not allowed inside. What implications are there to living in a community that is defined as a building you can only see from the outside? I moved to St. Paul, Minnesota, close to my childhood home, and there is an almost reverse situation. 4 blocks away, the Cathedral of St. Paul, built in 1915, is just as defining to my community as the Idaho Falls Temple was in Idaho Falls. The neighborhood is coined Cathedral Hill because of its dominant height. 25% of the population in St. Paul is Catholic and presumably higher in Cathedral Hill. The interior of the cathedral is open to the public for free and can still act as a center of Catholic functions for the region. In fact, several buildings surround the cathedral to facilitate even further private functions of the church. Beginning as a log structure in 1841, the population grew, and a second cathedral was built, and by 1853 a third cathedral that accommodated even more people and greater prestige was built. It wasn't until Archbishop John Ireland came to the conclusion that a grand cathedral was to be built, with planning starting in 1904. The cathedral is in fact on a hill, or bluff rather, that overlooks the downtown area, the Mississippi River, and even the state capitol, all from the front steps. The church's first mass was on Easter Sunday, 1915. Further refinement of the interiors took place, including the design of chapels St. Peter and St. Joseph within the cathedral. The interiors included brown marble for the altar and white marble for the 7-foot-high statue of St. Peter. The sacristy building was added in 1924 with the use of the Briar Hill stone and a design that matched the abrupt end to the cathedral that it was added onto. On top of the sacristy is an angel in prayer, its gaze towards the main chapel. The sacristy dome has 8 windows around it. The stained glass windows are an example of 20th century American ecclesiastical art. Differences in style and content creates a unique atmosphere. The cathedral has since undergone some restoration and replacement of its 5 large bells. Due to some vandalism and fires in the crypt, the stone, plaster, and glass of many architectural elements within have been embedded in dirt from the fire department's huge fans in an attempt to extinguish the fire. Overall, the cathedral is thought of as a symbol of the thousands of people that contributed to the construction, whether financially from the special request of the Archbishop for funds, or with the intense labor of stonework and dome's construction. The book, The Cathedral of St. Paul, an architectural biography, ends with the large-scale importance the cathedral has on the community. On the one hand, it is for the non-Catholics as well as Catholics, the prime religious edifice of the Twin Cities. What resident of Minneapolis or St. Paul has been able to resist the temptation to show it off to visit family or friends? But also, the cathedral is an ongoing sign of the faith and idealism of the men and women who first settled the United States. While the congregation is now smaller, the impact earlier residents had in St. Paul today is carried on through this architectural work. The same could be said about the Idaho Falls Temple, but what differentiates this religious monument is the fact that it can be admired by all local residents without solicitation. It is an architectural marvel to be explored as an inspirational piece of work despite religious backgrounds.